All right. I actually decided to go on and do a second one right now today, so I'm going to get at it. Parable. That's uh, that's indeed a way that Jesus taught his disciples. If you read the Gospels, you will find a lot of parables in the Gospels. Today, we'll see in here. I've actually chose a parable that I feel has a lot of meaning. Um, it's a well-known parable to many people out there. It's the prodigal son. Of course, this story is no stranger to no one out there. Um, anyone knows this. Anyone can probably tell you what it's about, tell you exactly what happens. So it's very exciting. It's found in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15 is where it is found. Starts with around verse 11. Luke 15, uh, Luke 15, verse 11. And he said, a certain man had two sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto his living. So basically, start the story out. You got you got a father, you got two sons. The youngest son basically just wants, what all he's got, which basically at this point will indeed be money, and everything. And not many days after the young son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country. And there he wasted his substance with riotous living. So basically, they're using wasting his substance, basically like wasting his money. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to be a citizen of that country. And he sent him into his fields to feed the swine, which of course is pigs. He would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. Basically, it's just saying, basically, he basically got the job and went out feeding the swines, which in other words are the pigs. He would basically, eat with the pigs, and he was basically almost down to his lowest point. Verse 17. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father have bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and I'm no longer worthy to be called thy son. Make me one of thy hired servants. So basically, at this time, no one really knows the time frame, how many days he was like this. Basically, there was a lot more, but basically I'm stopping out here now. Basically, and the biggest thing about this, at this point in the story, you do not know the ages of these two sons. When it started. You have a father, two kids. One son wants basically what's his. So he gets it, he leaves, he goes to a faraway country. Basically, he wastes his money. No one knows really what on. I've heard many preachers say that he wasted it upon prostitutes and maybe some alcohol, or he did whatever. No, I'm not here to say that that's incorrect, or because no one really knows, what he wasted his money on. All we know, he basically got his money. He went out. He wasted it in the far land, far away country. He got to the lowest point, but basically he had nothing. Um, and then he finally repented of what he did, which a repentance is a turnaround. He basically realized what he had done was wrong. That's when he said, "I will rise and go to my father, and I will tell him that I have sinned against heaven, and I'm no longer to be called thy son, to make me one of his servants." Because at this point, at this age, he had nothing. He just wanted something. But anyways, he arose, verse 20, and he arose. He came to his father, but he was yet a great far off. His father saw him coming, and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. So basically, here it is. Father basically outside. You can almost sit there and you can picture it. Father out there on the porch, maybe in a rocking chair or something. I don't really know. I'm just thinking about you. Watching, and he sees his son coming, and instead of the father just sitting there, just waiting, sitting there. All right, well, what do you want now? You've already got my money. What do you want? The father runs to him, and he has compassion, and he fell on his neck and kissed him. And his son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no longer worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. And bring him the fattest calf, and kill it, and let's all eat and be merry. For my son which was dead is now alive. He was lost and now is found, and they began to be merry. We're going to stop right there on verse 24. Basically 11 through 24. That's where I basically want to hit. I know there's another eight verses in the rest of the story, but I want to stop. Basically, here it is. You have a father who is basically grateful, glad, proud that his son learned a lesson, learned the valuable lesson. And basically, instead of his son making things a lot worse than he could have, his thought, the son came to his senses, and he's like, I'm just going to go home. That's basically what it's all about. He basically came to himself and said, hey, I made a mistake. Now I'm going to go home to my father. So now he comes home, and a lot of people would think, well, why did the father do what he did? Why did he do why he did? Why didn't he just do what the boy wanted? Why didn't he make him just a servant? But instead, the father is grateful. The father has compassion toward his son because he finally came home. Like he said, he was lost, but now he's found. He was dead, now he's alive. Does that mean that he was, physically dead? No, that means he was spiritually dead. That's the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand and comprehend today. You could be sick more than one way. You can be physically sick. You could be mentally sick. You could be spiritually sick. The spiritually sick basically means you just do not have Jesus in your life. You basically try to do what you want to do, and you don't really want to worry about tomorrow. But we are told really, and this is a verse that I really love. I don't really know if this is going to hit the spot here or not. We're told in the book of James that James chapter 4 that our life is a vapor. That appears for a little time and it vanishes away. People do not look at that. People do not look right here. I'm looking at it in James actually chapter 2, to be quite honest with you, because I'm looking right across the other pages here. It says right here, even so, faith, if it has not works, faith, even so, faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone. Faith without works, of course, we know is dead. Faith alone will not do it. I really like that. But the biggest thing, like I was saying, is that some people don't even worry about tomorrow. But we are told here, in James, that we really have no promise of tomorrow. And I know that is really, really a sad thing to say. That's really a sad way to look at life. Most people just do not and are not grateful for what they have. You might not have the best things. You might not be a millionaire. You might not have everything. But you gotta sit here and wonder, what does make you rich? Because the prodigal son, he had the money, but he wasn't happy. And then he repented, and then does that mean he became happy later on? To me, the greatest gift that could be received and was received was actually put to death for you and me. Jesus, he came to this earth to basically do the will of the Father. That's what we find, in the wonderful gospel. He came to do the will of his Father. Was it God's will for Jesus to endure everything that he did? Was it God's will that Jesus would be put to death on a cross? But the thing is, though, Jesus knew that. Jesus told his disciples so many times that he would leave, and that he would leave, and that where he go, you cannot come. Many people do not really believe that. Many people do not believe that we cannot go. The biggest thing that people don't understand today, I think many people do not understand the Bible. The reason why people don't understand it is because many people just basically put it out of their life. You hear many people today, well, I'm happy and everything like that. The biggest question is, though, if you're like this prodigal son and you have the money, you have everything that you want, are you really, really happy? That's the question that I throw to people out there who will watch this and are watching it, whatever. If you took Jesus out of your life, would you be happy? Could you even imagine being happy without Jesus in your life? Um, I guess my answer to that, if you took Jesus away from from Christian's life, we would really have no life, because Jesus came to seek and to save that which was lost. He came to give us a new hope, a new life. He came to provide us with so many different things, so many spiritual things, so many wonderful things that this earth can never offer. Jesus offers to us. Um, that's just something to look at. It's something that I really, really think about a lot. But getting back to the prodigal son, I derail easy on this stuff. Once I open this Bible, once I get into it, I can go boom, boom, boom. I can be right, and I really hope that some of these points are hitting the spot here for a lot of people. The prodigal son, basically, he did think he had it all. He thought that he had everything that he could want. But then, like the story says, he spent, in verse 14, and when he had spent all there, he arose. See, that's a thing that people understand. He spent all. He had nothing left. I'm sure he had many friends, and they hung out a lot. They probably done a lot of partying. Who knows what they did? Where were the friends when there were no money? Who was beside him when he had no money? God was still with him. But the fact is, though, a lot of people don't really, really understand, I think, is that God is always with us. We're told that God, He never leaves us, He never forsakes us. I've been saying we're talking about the prodigal son for a while. Prodigal son, I think, is one of the best stories that there ever was. Let's actually finish this up with verse 25. Luke 15, verse 25. We're actually going to try to finish this story up here sometime today. Now his elder son was in the field, and he came and drew nigh to the house. He heard music and dancing, and he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, Thy brother is come, and thy father had killed the fatter calf, because he had received him safe and sound. So see, here it is, basically. The older son. It says elder son, which would return to be the older son. He was out in the field doing his his work, his chores, whatever he does all the time. And here it is. He hears all the dancing and music, and you're like, what's going on? At this time, he is no longer, he's not aware of the brother returning. So then he finds out from the servant. Here in verse 28, you find out, and he was angry and would not go in. Therefore came his father out. His father came out basically to find out, what's going on. Why are you not coming in to be with us, celebrate your brother's return? Then and he answered, said to his father, Lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgressed that I, many times. So basically what he's saying here, I worked for you many years. You never did this for me. So why should I go in and do it for my brother? But as soon as thy son was come, that thou Trying to figure this out. All right. Back on 29, he was talking. But thou never gavest me a kid that I might make merry with my friends. Like I say, his talking about, you never did this for me. Could this be, the older son did not really get as much respect as the youngest one did? But then you got to sit there and wonder, the older, he stayed put at home while the younger one went out and learned his lesson. The younger son, the prodigal son, people call him, he went out, he took all the money, he spent it, he learned his lesson. He returned to his father. His father was proud. His father had compassion for him. This is basically the same way that Jesus and the angels feel toward us. If we're lost and we're dead to our sins, when we return home, how do you think that makes God feel when He sees one repent over 99 that need just repentance? That goes back to the wonderful story here of the lost sheep. I really love that story, the lost sheep. For those who know the story, there is, where'd you go? 100 sheep, and you lose one sheep, and the shepherd leaves the 99. I'm sure there was somebody else to watch the 99 while he left. He left the 99 just to go find one. That shows the love and support and the passion that Jesus had for us. That He would leave because it's talking about Jesus. Jesus is the good shepherd. We are the sheep. That's something that people don't understand either. We're the good sheep. Jesus is our shepherd. He watches over us daily. He makes sure that we have everything that we need. That does not mean that, if you sit there and say, Jesus, I need money, that does not mean that's going to happen. It don't work like that. I wish it would. Jesus might help provide you with a job to get that money. But I ain't going to get into stuff like that today. Getting back to the prodigal son, and I really love this story. I don't really know, a better parable. There's many great parables in here. The feeding of the 5,000, that's a really great story. There's just so many wonderful stories on this. When you say the word parable, you got to think of the wonderful stories that come to your mind. Like I said, the sheep, the 99 that was lost, or the one that was lost, the one that was lost over the 99, that is going to be my next parable I hit. I'm not sure that's when I'm going to do that, but I'm going to get all this out. That is my next one. I really hope that people, do come by, check that out, because I really think that that has got such a wonderful meaning to it. The parable of the lost sheep. And I know people are thinking, the lost sheep. But like I said, people have got to understand that sheep represents who we are as Christians. Before we came to get to know, before we came to know Jesus, we were lost. Jesus left the flock to come to find, you and me. But He couldn't find us alone, because it takes us to want His blessings. Most people that I talk to today, and I almost step on toes here. Many people, almost step on many toes. But
Daddy, Mommy's calling.